Hi, everyone, and welcome back to our Mentoring Business Podcast, the space where strategy meets soul and leaders share the stories behind the success. I am Diana Maria Georgescu, and I will be your host today for a new insightful conversation where we explore the meaning of great marketing strategy. Today's episode explores how strategic clarity, self awareness, and creative discipline drive long term brand success in complex, multicultural environments through the lens of Anka Newhoffs, a professional with more than 16 years of marketing leadership across Europe. The primary objective of the discussion is to learn valuable lessons from an international expert as Anka in this field who works with various business sectors and apply them to the Romanian business context. In today's episode, I'm joined by Anka Newhoff, a seasoned marketing professional with over 16 years of experience across Europe, from household names like Mars and Puratos to her current role as European marketing mentor. Anka is not just a brand builder. She's what she beautiful calls a constant gardener in marketing. Someone who listens, prompts, nurtures, and patiently grows powerful brand ecosystems. We'll dive into launching products across diverse markets, influencing without authority, bridging strategy and creativity, and how self awareness shapes long term leadership. Whether you're a marketer, founder, or a business mentor, today's conversation will inspire you to think deeper, lead smarter, and connect more authentically. So let's begin. Welcome, Anka, to our podcast.
Thank you, Diana. Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm honored to be part of this community and to be able to share my experience, my knowledge with your members. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you for accepting our invitation. Anka, you recently completed a mini MBA with Mark Ritson. What are the key strategic principles you've embraced from that experience, and how have they changed the way you approach brand building today?
Yes, I've been following Professor Ritson for a while now, and I've been considering. I've constantly looked at opportunities to further refresh, look at the marketing role from different perspectives, and I've taken his course in brand management, which is, let's say, the fundamentals of some of the fundamentals of brand management and an important part of marketing. And what I took out were, on the one side, I think, concepts that I knew, but they were reinforced with a lot of examples. And what I appreciate and why I've chosen this course is that you have a strong theoretical knowledge, but matched with consultancy experience. Yes, so with really actual hands-on work. And I think that's where the beauty lies, because sometimes let's say marketers that are more into the job and sometimes they cannot sit back and reflect or see different cases. They tend to narrow down or to be let's say over obsessive on certain elements. And Professor Ritson is a paradigm breaker, yes, at the same time, and it's a challenging brings a challenging mindset. Some of the things that I think were valuable for me was a reminder of the fact that consumers and customers, whether it's B2B or B2C environment, they simply are unaware. Most of the times, people don't think about your brand. And I think this is I think if you are a business owner that has just started a brand, if you are already working with an established brand, do not underestimate the capability of people not noticing you, because we're simply bombarded with thousands and 10,000s of messaging and brand messaging every day. So practically building brand through consistent messaging and advertising through time is one of the essentials, the essential element. Yeah. I think for me this is great because we tend to work for organizations and we tend to be super, super involved and in love with the brands or the company brand. And we may tend to underestimate, the fact that the others, they are simply they are operating with different, they are unaware, uninterested they are only interested in their universe. How do you push through from your universe into theirs? That's the art, that's the beauty. That's one of the key takeaways. The second one, I think it's how do you, as a marketer, and I think this is for me he has been one of the people who has been so brilliantly concluding on the fact that you are just as a marketer, you are just a gardener. I said gardener. He said you are a caretaker or a custodian of the brand for a certain period of time. That brand existed before you, and most likely will exist if you do your job well after your time with the brand. So cherish that relationship and appreciate the fact that when you are given a brand, you are given a gift. You are given a fully fledged identity that you just need to shape and, of course, make more and more successful. And here it's about resisting the temptation to associate the brand and the activity you do on the brand with your egoistic need to shine. It's not you who needs to shine, it's the brand who needs to shine through the results you deliver. Yeah. And I think that's one of the, I think I've always thought of marketing as a profession that really teaches you to be humble in a very, a healthy way, in the sense of you need to listen. Yeah, you need to be able to actively listen to your customers, to your stakeholders, to your sales team. And whatever will make you a successful marketer is your capability to listen, to compute, to connect the dots, to build a strategy, and then to deliver against the strategy. Third element, I think I took out, and for me were some, they are nicely said and articulated, but they were things that I knew throughout my career. However, I think from time to time it's good to refresh, because we may tend to, I also may tend to be more stuck in the tactical and less focused on the strategy. Yes, we may tend to want to serve the short term too much with overlooking, without projecting too much or allocating enough time in our job to be thinking strategically. And there is something that Mark Ritson says, is that, it's not about changing. So whatever, you have to sometimes resist the temptation to change elements from the brand, distinctive assets, from the communication. If you have the most, let's say, the most successful marketers manage to make a very good campaign, a very coherent campaign, that sometimes, and what is proven, and he showed us some case studies, is that you can practically reuse an advertising and a campaign for maybe 2-3 years by the time it starts to deliver results. So what tends to be, oh, I did a campaign, or I did an ad this year, and I'm fed up because every day I've looked at the ad, yes, and I'm exposed to it, whilst your customer most likely hasn't seen it. Your ad hasn't pushed through the clutter. Yeah. It's about maybe defining that you need to be consistent and continue to invest and resist the need to change the ad instead of maybe changing your tactics or enhancing and really staying consistent to what you have set yourself as an objective. I think for me this is one I've learned this lesson back when I was working for Mars, and I think fundamentally this has been one of my key lessons in marketing. Yeah, a very good ad that has been developed that is really yeah, it's being tested with consumer, it reacts well, a positioning that is really with well aligned with the brand DNA, it doesn't need to change. You can run the ad for 3-4 years in a way that you just need to make sure that you have the right investment, and then that you build your or portfolio of actions in line with with the growth strategy you have. So really, how to say, refreshing. At the same time, I'm learning about modeling and how AI may help model brand dynamic, media impact and stuff like that. But at the same time, really saying that behind all the AI, you need people that are well trained, that are well capable of using the technology with a solid strategy or with a solid structure inside. Yeah, so it's good to go back to school from time to time. It's refreshing. It's some ahas, some things that I might have I may have not explored in the past with concrete examples. So I think from time to time, when you have a little bit of space, go back to school, choose well your the people you learn from, follow them. For me, even to choose his course and to invest into his course has been, I think, a journey of 3 or 4 years. I've been following him, so I've been enjoying a lot of his content until the moment I decided, okay, I had several opportunities, but I went for him. Why? Because I think he has been the most provocative and at the same time argumented marketing professional out there. Yeah. So interesting how I made my buying decision and how long it took me to make a decision to buy a course from him. More than, I think, 4 years. Since the first time I became exposed to him. So continue to put that value out, persevere and be consistent with who you are, and put out that value in line with who you are as a brand, and then systematically year on year increase your spend in media or in advertising or in the quality of the content you put out there, so that you can reach more people and get them to make a decision and buy. Yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you, Anka, for sharing all this story with us. Because what I'm taking from here, it's the keyword perseverance. And I think it goes hand in hand with how you beautifully describe the marketer as a constant gardener, because actually right now we are living in a fast-paced era. So everyone wants results overnight. And what you've said, I think it's actually something very profound to keep going, to keep walking your way, your path, until the right people are seeing your advertising and coming and making that decision to buy that product from you. Because I know a lot of entrepreneurs, for instance, but not only entrepreneurs, that after 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, they are saying, okay, something is not right, so I need to hire someone else, or I need to change everything. And you don't speak about that. So let's go back a bit to constant gardener. What does
Mm.
metaphor mean in practice when managing a brand or a portfolio in fast-changing markets?
You are a guardian of something that already existed. Yes, you are given the, I don't know, it could be the Gardens of Versailles if it's a big brand. It might be, I don't know, a smaller garden that is just taking shape. Yeah, a social garden. Yes, or a place to meet. Yeah, I think it doesn't matter the size, the principles are the same. Of course, you know, you need more span, and when you have a big brand, an international brand, you have more guidelines, and you depend on a lot of people and on a lot of teams. When you are an entrepreneur and you have a smaller brand, you just need to continue building it and resist the temptation to stop and do things differently. Most of the time, I mean, I give this example, it's not mine. It was offered in the course, but I think for me it really resonated. Think about Kit Kat chocolate, yes, chocolate bar. It's been about have a Kit Kat for more than 70 years, and how it's been communicated and how it's been presented as, yes, as articulated in its advertising is very, very consistent. It's about the red, it's about the crunch, the bar breaking, it's about the break environment. So if you look at their ads and the way the brand has been communicated, it's very consistent through time. Yeah, it hasn't actually changed. They have built and built around those elements. Yeah, and you have to have the patience. Yes, you cannot speed a tree from growing. Yes, you cannot accelerate a tree to become, yeah, look at whoever has planted a tree, and maybe, you know, that could be an interesting exercise for a marketer or for somebody who's growing a business. You start your business and you plant a tree. Yes, and every day you need to look at the tree, you need to water it, you need to create the conditions, you need to observe if there are external forces that are attacking it. Yeah, and you need to give that tree the time to grow. It's the same with your brand or with your company. Yeah, so your role is there to foster, to create the environment, to bring all the elements, to co-create, to collaborate, and to maybe create conditions for that business to grow. But it will grow at its pace, and most likely it will grow with people who have who are growing themselves. And I truly believe in that. Yeah, I truly believe that I mean, you as in any role for a company, especially I think in marketing, you need to personally all grow, whether it's from your functional capabilities, your leadership capabilities, your influencing capabilities, your communication capabilities, everything. The more you grow, the more you are able to give to feed your let's say your garden with more, yeah, elaborate or more sophisticated or more complex yeah, resources to be able to make it thrive. Yeah, and that's why I think I like the metaphor of you are a constant gardener. Most likely you need to trim, but you will not change the complete layout of your garden. Yes, once you've planted or you've inherited an area, you won't turn it from an English garden to a French garden overnight. We know the difference. Yeah, the English garden is more romantic, it's unstructured, has different setup in terms of yeah, layout, while the French garden is very organized, very Cartesian, very rectangular. Yeah, so practically you need to stay true to what you have. You need to understand it, respect it, and then contribute with who you are to the growth of that space. Yeah, maybe I'm being too metaphorical, but I think resist to do a lot of changes that are necessary, and sometimes maybe persevere in the boring so-called boring elements, but that might be that may be more, or use your creativity to use those boring tools that you may have grown accustomed to expand them or to enrich them. I give you a concrete example, which I learned, I had an incredible mentor in Mars, and he was telling me, instead, how do you use your time and resources for the trade marketing activities, which is all about the displays and communicating the brand in store. And he's been telling me, instead of, redesigning your displays every season for every Christmas, maybe just use the same display and think about creative ways to implement it or to maximize the execution in store. Maybe you can, I don't know, build an island with several of those displays. Maybe you can negotiate a special setup in a special retailer. Maybe you can think about a creative way to engage a distributor. So as in life, you can get busy with a lot of things. And most of the times, we tend to be busy as people with the familiar, with the elements we can control that are within our control. So designing a new layout is within your control. You have an agency that can be done. What's not within your control is engaging maybe your key account manager, your sales team, maybe your demand planning, maybe somebody from finance to help you build a case to expand your portfolio or to sell to new channels or to new customers. So I think and that comes with self-awareness. Am I busy doing the right things? Am I busy focusing on what is familiar and what I can easily change, and that gives me a feeling of satisfaction on the immediate? As it may be that I might should not focus about trimming the grass. It's spring and I should be focused on trimming the trees, going back or replanting some of the trees, yes. But I think the key is to be self-aware and to look at, to be able to see how you proceed with your own life, with your own priorities, because that will be a reflection of what you will do in the professional space as well. And I think this is a wisdom, and I think this is a journey. It has been for me as well. And I would like to emphasize the fact that I am able to speak at this moment, having fallen in the trap of, changing where it's not needing to be changed, or trying to do more at a time, not being mindful of the seasons, not waiting for me to maybe recharge in order to be more, losing creativity through doing a lot of, activities and not having time to step back. So I think we learn going through life. And I think it's important to, sit back at times and just recharge and reflect and just take time for yourself.
Now you made me regret. I never thought about planting a tree when I started my business.
Never too late, huh?
It's never too late, indeed, and I think it's a very original KPI in the end, a metric that will make you understand that you have to go with the flow, exactly as in life, as you said. So beautiful said, and thank you for teaching us this lesson.
And maybe that at times you need to give it up, to give it to someone else, or to entrust it. And even when it's planted by you, you need to entrust that somebody else will take care of it. I think for entrepreneurs, they tend to be very, how to say, associated. The brand or the company is them. And giving up certain parts of it or delegating certain parts of it tends to be a challenge because it's so much their baby, But as with babies, we tend to send them to school, send them to sports, to activities, and we entrust them to professionals, yeah. Whilst we still keep an eye on the overall development, yeah.
That's right. That's right. Now, throughout your career, you've influenced across functions and borders, often without formal authority, right? What has helped you build alignment and trust? You said about entrusting to someone else things in multicultural or cross-functional teams.
Mm. I think I've always wanted, so I've held jobs for international companies in Romania till the moment I really wanted to expand a little bit my activity and my cultural understanding, and really wanting to go beyond the Romanian border. And in the last 6 years, I've actually relocated to Germany. I've been living in Germany and held a European role for a certain department within a larger marketing and strategy organization. And it's been an interesting journey, and I think fundamentally we are all human beings. So if you understand basics of psychology, and if you are able to be self-aware, work on yourself, be able to understand, to be able to take feedback, to face, pushbacks, criticism, but in a very constructive way, not taking anything personally. And really understanding that, and being a little bit aware, more and more aware, I think. The more aware you are of yourself, the more you are aware on the impact on others, but also you understand that everybody is different, so they have their times, they have their style. The more you can understand how to speak, whether it is to a finance person or to a very, how to say, or to a profile that is very fact-based, numbers, you speak in a certain way. When you have a person that wants a dialogue and wants to reach a conclusion with you through the discussion, then you offer these possibilities, the capability to really flex to the person you are speaking to their style, and make this a journey that is comfortable for them, understanding that there is a higher challenge on the person who on yourself, trying to maybe extract those elements, those facts, those that style that may not be natural to you as an individual. And of course, also trying to understand culture, but don't fall into the cultural trap, and don't take things personally also, yes, because some, and I don't want to generalize here, but some may be very direct, like, I don't know, the Dutch may tell you very straight on what they think and what they want, and that's it. Having cultural differences, where with the British world, you need to be, you need to enhance your dialogue. You need to be able to bring arguments. You need to have a conversation before you reach a conclusion. But I don't want to put this, to nail this as I think it's always a matter of human to human, and really creating that bond and that trust, and showing to people that you are what you say you are, yes, and you act as you said you'd act. And if you don't act as you said you'd act, you come back and you say, okay, I'm sorry, I ignore this, it's not within my priority, my priorities have changed, and stuff like that. But it's always, I think, people work with people, yes. And I think the more credible you are for yourself, the more clear you are inside, the more able you are to connect to different profiles, And trying to, I think the key lesson for me, and observing dynamics in teams and observing various people don't take things personally. Yeah, just don't, never, it's never personal. People react because of their own paradigms. They live in their own reality based on the experiences they have, the context they've lived. It's not about psychoanalyzing anyone, but it's understanding that in order to see eye to eye, you may either need to communicate, express, be patient, and try to get people to embark on or to see their vision, to understand why they perceive things this way, and also to see how you can adjust or find the common ground. It's also about finding the common ground. And really staying I think for me, when you speak about launching a product or speaking about launching a service, it's really understanding the market, yes, understanding how that market is shaped, what is culturally inherent. I give you an example. We've been trying to enter Denmark with a product that has had all the rational arguments. We had all the rational arguments why that product is a superior product for the Dutch market. And Dutch market had a product that they have created and they have been using for the last 30 years, but as any product that has no, let's say, becomes a commodity, has no, let's say, research and development, innovation behind it, it remains stuck. It was good for the 70s, but for the 2025 or 2023, when we were working on the project, it was by no far delivering. However, it was their product, which made them proud. So entering the market with an alternative that is practically, you need to be very, we needed to be very, we were not successful in the sense of we were positioning ours as, well, leave your 30 years of tradition and go for the new. It didn't work, yeah? It simply didn't work, yeah? And it took time sometimes, as about the patience, sometimes to introduce a new product into the market, you need to, and what happened is that paradoxically, the product was accepted, was used by certain retailers, step by step, and we started to get to see more and more usage. However, they were saying, no, we don't need a new product. We are happy with our own. Even if ours was leaking, and even if we were rationally proving that we are offering a superior product, the answer was still no. And I think in this case, you need to understand that the conditions and to keep an eye on the situation and wait for the conditions to change. It might be that it's a new EU regulations related to packaging or new constraints in terms of sustainability, where legislation may give you the chance to show the competitive advantage. But you need to do it in a way in which you're showing them that this is an alternative you can choose, and it's up to you to choose. It's not, you are wrong and we are right, yeah? Because it simply doesn't work. It may work in, I don't know, in Eastern Europe, because Eastern Europe tends to adopt more of the new products it's more open to adoption, while a Danish environment would be very apparently innovative, but very conservative in terms of their own solution, in very conservative related and protective related to their own design, yeah? Mm-hmm. So at the time we had to stop all investment, yeah? We were simply not going anywhere. And we said, okay, we did the job. Conditions are not helping us. We need to step back and wait for the right conditions.
Now, looking at this experience, for instance, Anca, what would you say that your personal framework would be now balancing innovation, customer insights, and strategic clarity were bringing something new to the market. So what would you do differently in order to maybe get over that barrier, cultural barrier, or um, market flexibility, if you like?
I think there are a lot of learnings I've taken in the last years, especially working in European environment, because how retailers, for example, operate or how they react or how they respond in France or in Italy or in Spain might be completely different from how retailers react if we speak about FMCG and the retail world in Europe, yeah? I mean, German retailers would be a completely different behavior, a completely different system. So I think one of the key areas is really understanding the environment. Okay, be very attentive and be very mindful and maybe start small and do small projects. I give you an example. We were identifying a need in the market that a lot of the small, medium companies that want to, or startups that want to list themselves with German retailers, they don't have the knowledge and expertise to build a display and to do practically an in-store execution. And we were thinking, what if we could create a complete solution that would help these startups execute introduce a limited edition or in and out and make tests with German retailers. Great idea. Was there a market need? Yes, there was. However, in time we realized that this idea is not necessarily scalable and that a lot of the startups are not, they don't push it through they don't exist after the third year or the second year. Yes, pandemic came, there were a lot of changes. So we needed to say, okay, we had a solution, we had a good, a good idea, but long term, this idea doesn't produce benefits. And you need to step back and you say, okay, you need to kill your baby sometimes because it defocuses you from the core or from doing innovation. And I think the more companies the more we as individuals are able to give up and accept that maybe it's not the time, it's not the right moment, or it's not the right idea, or you need to go and redraw or reshape and find something else, the more active we are to trial and error, and take the learning and not wait for years or months to go back into the game. I think that will put companies also in a position to be competitive. Being able to maybe at times kill your dreams or sacrifice them but take the learning. I think for me this is the most important thing. I think from working on or being part of teams that were working for German retail, we learned that the way they function, their structure is completely different. They have a lot of franchise. So the decision is very fragmented. They are not integrated. Yeah, they have some integrated retailers, but the large players, they are very fragmented. So getting a product in and distributing it across the entire network involves convincing also the owners of the franchises to take product. Yeah. So understand what you are dealing with. Take time to meet them, speak to them. We had the situation where we were developing an IT solution to validate if the display is in store or not, but we never considered that the retailer doesn't want to disclose this information. So take the time to learn, take the time to anticipate, take the time to test at a small scale and do, prototyping and testing and then expand if it's possible. Yeah, do the incubation, do the testing, trial and error, learn, reshape, and incorporate. And I want to say sometimes you fail. We failed, I think, with two concepts. One, we had to kill, the second one we had to kill, as I was giving an example, but this trained us internally to be able to come with a third option that was really something that they needed and something that they were willing to adopt. So yeah, I think in this world we live in right now is most of the time it's not about changing your campaign or changing your marketing or rebranding, which is something that you should only do in certain conditions. First, you need to establish a brand, and maybe sometimes you need to revitalize it. But changing it completely every second year, it's not something that you should be busy with. You should be busy with consistently communicating, innovating, delivering what the brand promise is. Yeah, and I think that's been my learning. Yeah, and have the patience. Sometimes something that seems a failure, maybe you're learning for the future. Yeah, and don't be adverse to failure. Yeah.
That's right. Failure is a step forward, not a step back.
If you took the lesson, if you took the learning, I think, I remember, and I tell this to myself so when I tend to be perfectionist and too focused on winning or getting things across. I tell myself experience is a critical number of fuck-ups. So you need to, and you need to learn from your mistakes. You will always make mistakes. I think the most important element where you need to train is face the mistake. Don't overburden yourself. Learn from it and go into the next loop, because most likely this will be the step you've already put into understanding or doing better next time. Yeah.
Beautiful. Before closing this conversation, Anka, what's one mindset shift, only one, every leader should adopt today to build more strategically driven branding?
Well, that's a very, very good question. And I think I would say, be very much in tune with yourself as a human being. Be very much in tune with what drives you. Because most of the times you will be able to convince, you will be able to inspire by what you do and how you are, rather than what you say. Yeah. So, and people, I think nowadays I think we need this level of authenticity and this able of, a leader that is self-aware, capable to work on himself and understand that the more in tune he is with himself, yes, with his dreams, with his with what he wants to create in life on all levels, the more the span grows. So for me, this is, I think the age in which we are right now, you need to be able to deliver something more than a recommendation that an AI robot could write. I think we will most likely, if we look at what AI is doing currently, they will be able to project strategy, model businesses in a better way than we actually can as human beings. So the role of a leader would be that to drive the organization, to inspire people to move into a certain direction. And it's a lot about inspiration. I think we are moving from the era of where leaders needed to be, to make good decisions. Yes, we'll need to make good decisions, but most of the decisions will be prompted and articulated in a way that probably has never been done. So it's less about what you decide, but more about how you keep your people engaged into the vision, how you express that vision, yes, and how do you inspire people to embark on that vision and deliver against it, yeah. I think that will be critical, yes.
Mhm.
The humanity, I think that aspect of humanity and really getting people on board into dreaming with you a possibility and executing with you a possibility, yeah. And yeah, I think we are in a moment of how to say, of transition. So there is a lot of chaos. So I think more and more this chaos invites each of us to tune in, to tune in to who we are, what are our values, how do we want our life to be, how do we want to lead our life, what's important, what would be our legacy, for in all chapters of life, yes. What's your legacy for the brand? And I think for me, we'll need to look. I think the ones who are successful are the ones who equally can do it in their personal life and in business,
Now, last but not least, do you have a message or a recommendation for our audience, both Romanian and international?
I think, my recommendation is go out there, meet people, speak to people that are different from you. Get yourself challenged, yes. Put yourself out there for the challenge, because most likely from those challenging environments, you will learn the most. Yeah, the I don't know, the jobs that were the most challenging for me, or the companies that were most challenging for me, have taught me the most. So I think, and try to look at different life from different perspectives and meet people that are different from you. I really appreciate, and I really keep in my teams, and I go to people that are different from me. Why? Because I want to be challenged. It might be that I have blind spots at times. So challenge your blind spots, be clear on who you are, but also open up. Yeah, there is a world out there, and we might need to learn from each other. Yeah, we may need to learn, the German style of executing with excellence and being focused and sticking to procedures and sticking to, taking time to build a procedure and the process before you start doing something. Learn from that, because it might be something that will diminish the level of chaos in your current situation, and then you can gain time to be able to think differently. Yes, I mean, I think it's valuable to see people from different cultures and to have mentors from different roles, different cultures. I mean, we are in such an open global world right now that I think it's a missed opportunity not to how to say, not to tap into so much difference and variety that can bring you maybe new elements which you plug into your puzzle.
That's right. Thank you so much, Anka, for sharing your wisdom and your experiences today. And that brings us to the end of this powerful conversation, where Anka just reminded us that strategy isn't a deck, it's a mindset in the end. And that
Execution is not boring. It's what you
that's
need to do in order to deliver on your strategy. Yes.
That's right. And actually, that brand building is about long-term trust, right? And that leading with clarity and empathy is not optional, but essential. So, if you are ready to lead your businesses differently or face challenges with more clarity while keeping your empathy on, take these insights and turn them into your action and your path. Don't miss the chance to explore the mentoring opportunities available in our community by accessing the links below. They could make all the difference, I can tell you. And if you found inspiration or insights today, share this episode with a colleague and make sure you subscribe our channel by clicking the subscribe button below. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, plant the seeds of purpose and keep living with heart and clarity. Thank you so much. Thank you, Anka.
Thank you, Diana, and thank you, everyone. And if you have questions, we are waiting for those questions in the comments so you can actually answer on specific elements, opening up the possibility to practically give more value to the community through the questions that are being asked on the channel. Yeah.
That's right. So thank you. And we are waiting for your comments below.